This conference will now be recorded.
I actually want to eat. I'd probably rather you know,
Maybe the stream webcam one, two down. I can hear now. So, okay, thank you, David. Okay, so for the folks that were online, I wanted to reiterate that the agenda item that we are on is public comment for non-agenda items. So if you'd like to make a comment, you can unmute yourself and make a comment. Okay. Okay. Going once. Going twice. Okay. So that agenda item is closed. Pollinator Gardens, David Laufenberg is going to talk about the pollinator gardens here in the town of Ennis. Go ahead, David.
Hey, you guys, can you hear me?
And we can't hear you.
Oh, no, you can't.
Hold up, David.
I can hear you.
This
is Hardy.
Okay, Corey can hear me, it sounds like.
Maybe go to speakers. Further down the list on the very, very bottom.
Usually comes out of the TV.
Yeah.
So which was the ACES? Is that what that is?
Is the volume up on the TV?
Good question. The first time.
The LG is not even on that list, but the few is.
But you have the remote there.
No, they look pretty good tonight.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Nice. Great.
What about on that one?
You can hear me. Yes.
I can hear you, David.
Can the town of Ennis hear me? Sounds like maybe not yet.
Okay. We're just gonna pause for those folks online. We're just gonna pause for a moment and get IT on the line. And see if we can figure out our situation here. Brian can hear. That's awesome, Brian. We just can't hear the folks that, we're trying to be able to hear you, the folks that are signed in. So we've got to figure out, we got the microphones, I think, figured out. Now we just need the speakers. So for some reason, you're having.
Yes, David was when he was trying to talk and you could see it, but
Can you guys hear us now?
Corey can hear him on the other end though. Corey's on the meeting and can hear him.
And we can't hear Corey. And
Can you hear
he's
me?
on the phone, right?
Yeah, Corey's on.
okay. I'm not touching it. I'll let go of it.
Can you guys hear me?
Disaster.
No, yeah,
Yeah, usually it works no problem. So sometimes we have feedback issues with the microphones, but. There we go. Or that is just a test.
Test. Testing.
Can you guys hear
You
me
heard
now?
it. Okay, if John can hear it, then we're probably. Yeah.
Are we good? Can you guys hear us now?
he said it's not our issue.
I keep telling Corey to try to talk. We can't hear Corey either.
David, would you unmute and try again?
You bet. Testing. Testing.
Yeah, he's trying the little icons moving.
Yeah.
David, we seem to be
We are working on our end. We just checked it. Could you log out and log back in and then try again?
I can, but you should be able to hear Corey or the other callers.
No,
also.
we cannot hear you.
Yep.
Can you hear me now? This is Corey.
People who are trying to listen to this can't hear anything either. So it's both ways.
Okay, yeah, because there was,
Justin?
where Brian said that he could hear. Did that change? I'm
just
wondering,
right
hey,
now.
Brian, can you type in the chat box whether you can hear us still? We can hear the town, says David. Okay. He still can't hear him.
But they can hear each other talking. The GoToMeeting people, when you're on it, you can hear each other talking.
Oh, interesting.
Well, like if they're speaking, they can hear each other. They're hearing David.
They're hearing David talk. We can hear each other. Okay, interesting. Want to take a look, Lisa, and see if. What about the sound control panel? Would that have anything to do with it?
Do you have them muted on your side, the town? No? No.
Serious difference. You see any buttons on it? They're not buttons anymore. That's the one that says it's going to be coming out of, so.
Do you have to pick an input from? I mean, it's already doing the video, so.
Testing. Testing.
What do you think, Dave? Should we both try to call him back in?
More communication from IT.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it seems like they just can't hear anyone that's not already in the room, you know? Something's wonky in the computer software, maybe an update. I actually had issues yesterday in a meeting for the first time with my machine.
Well, is David the only one that needs to speak? That's not.
I think maybe so. All the other ones, well, I mean, it would be good to get comments from other people on those things, but maybe they can use the chat box. and type out their comment.
People aren't really supposed to comment during.
Well, no, not that, but if there is a question, but I think, what does that say?
I was gonna say.
I can use the chat as well. Okay, so David did submit his summary. He talked about it last meeting about it wanting, with the Madison Conservation District, wanting to utilize some town properties to do, to support a diversity of flora and fauna while also serving to beautify public areas. The Madison Conservation District will work with the town of Ennis to facilitate the establishment of pollinator gardens at a few public locations during the growing season of 2021. How does that sound, David? So they picked at least 3 locations, the garden behind Town Hall, the large roundabout in the North 40, and Lions Club Park. The proposed timeline, so we met in February and March. We were at the March meeting. David presented. March and April for the timeline is to work with Commissioner Hardy, Donia Smith, who's the head of the Lions Club, and Kelly Elzer for the town of Ennis, regarding permission, placement of gardens, and irrigation systems. It looks as though they will, in April and May, prepare and plant pollinator gardens. Commissioner Hardy, it looks, has a small crew available to help with that. It says mechanical treatment of existing area. Thinking maybe that is just prepping the area, installing fence and signage. And it says that's going to cost about approximately $500. And that is going to be shared between local businesses, the Madison Conservation District, and then it has a question mark for the town. So whether or not the town wants to contribute to that. So I guess that would be what we're doing. And then May through September, weekly stewardship of the gardens. The Madison County or Madison Conservation District fellow intern would help with that. Irrigation, fencing, weeding, presence or absence of flora and fauna.
Corey, can you hear the town currently?
No, it just went off.
Right on.
How about you? Same?
Yeah, same. Are you able to follow along with the chat right now also, or are you just listening and watching video?
Ultimately, I'm just listening.
Yeah.
All I have is audio at this point.
Yep. You bet. I've been providing a little bit of background in the chat. But essentially they're just, reviewing that summary document and timeline.
Okay.
And, this is just an update essentially to make sure we're on the same page and transparent. Oh, can the town hear us?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right.
Great.
There is feedback. Hopefully I'm not being too picky.
Yeah, go ahead and put us on the blue button.
I'm hesitant because John's still got control at the moment.
Oh, okay.
How's that?
Maybe if can we turn down the volume so he's not getting that much of a feedback?
You guys.
The session will end in 5 minutes. Oh. can the town hear us?
Yeah. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. David,
Okay.
go ahead.
For a moment there, you guys broke out. But I think you're back. We are still experiencing the echo.
Just hit the. Oh, that's still John.
Oh, and we can see it too.
I wonder though there might be bandwidth issues because one of the other their gamma, and then that's when you folks dropped out for 20 or 15 seconds. Oh, I'm getting a note from Mike. David, you need these heads. Mike, if you try and speak, will there not be an echo? Not had to do that before. Oh, it's doubly picking up my audio thing. So maybe that's on me. Apologies. I was having issues yesterday with another meeting. Anyhow, I think I'll be able to just through it, but it really just is a summary document that we provided and offers a timeline of activities this summer and moving forward, and just wanted to continue to keep the council apprised of that process. I don't know if I need to check in really for the coming months, but I'm happy to continue to submit just like a brief report that talks about progress or where we're at, sort of thing. Yeah, and then if there are any questions, I'm happy to put them now too.
Jason, did you want to ask your question? I think you need to turn your microphone on.
Yeah, hi David, this is Jason Schroeder. I was just wondering how the $500 would get broken down and what's already available.
Yeah, you bet. Great question. So $500 was sort of a ballpark number if we couldn't find leftover fencing from other projects, leftover straw from other projects, and a little bit of money to pay for just the information sign or two. We actually do have that money. I looked at our budget. We do have that money, so if push comes to shove, we can just pay for it. But I wanted to put it on the table. If the town is interested in chipping in on that, they're more than welcome to, of course. And then also, speaking of the commission party, I think it makes a lot of sense if there are businesses or individuals in the community that would be interested in supporting these plots. I think we could reach out to them and raise the money pretty quickly also. So mostly I was just putting that on the table. They're more than welcome. If not, it's not an issue that way either. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
You bet.
There's got a lot going on right now, but I would imagine you could check with Kelly out of the parks budget or out of the commissioner projects budget too. If you wanted to support the, maybe some split it, half or whatever you want to do.
Your commissioner fund is gone.
Okay. How's the parks budget?
I do know that. That would be a Kelly question.
Okay.
Because I don't know what he's got coming up.
Okay. David, why don't we check some funding there, check our budget, get a budget report from Kelly on the Parks District, and we'll get back to you on that. So.
You bet. That's all good. And Kelly did say old strawberry so that's kind of nice. But yeah, we'll just stay tuned on that front all day. And feel free if there are any or individuals from the public that are interested, contact with them. We're up on Alpha Mall space, on the floor, as a conservation district. So thanks, you guys.
Thanks, David. If you would keep us informed on your work days and stuff like that, there might be members of the community that might be willing to help out if they know beforehand.
Right on. Let's stay tuned.
That sounds good. Thank you so much, and thanks for bringing this project to us.
You bet.
All right, so we'll close that agenda item. The next agenda item is the Scully amended plat realignment of common boundary of 2 existing tracts. Those plats are over here. I can bring it up. Jason, do you want to speak to this that you might know a little bit more because you live in the area?
Yeah. Actually,
Turn your microphone on.
this John couldn't be here today because he had Tony had to go to the hospital for something. But so what this is a common realignment of common boundary between my tract and his, and there's already an easement through my land, so he can get to his land, and all we're doing is moving 2 of the boundaries so that he actually owns that, and it's no longer an easement, so that he can have, well, right now it's just an access easement, but he needs it to be also a utility easement.
Okay.
So, but right now this particular thing is only to realign the common boundaries.
Oh, okay, so it's just a property line adjustment.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's already been approved by the county.
Yeah. So I think it was the reading, because normally these things don't come to us. I think it was just the way it was worded on the plat map that it was that the commission, usually the mayor and public works signs off. Is that correct, Ginger? Yeah. So I think it was just kind of a special situation. Do you have any questions, John?
Jason, my only comment would be, are you for it or against it? Because it's involved.
Right. Yeah, no, I'm for it.
That would be my only, if there's any opposition from anybody else, but it's actually yours and Mr. Scully.
Yeah.
It's a realignment, and as long as there's, no people against it per se, because it's between the 2 of you, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Right, and actually I've already signed the plat, but yeah, I'm not losing any land. I'm actually gaining a little bit of land, and now I don't have an easement through my land, and now he can do what he wants to do up there, so it's a win-win.
Well, it's a win-win then.
So you want to make a motion?
So I move to approve. Give me a long one.
The plat realignment.
I move to approve the amended plat of the amended subdivision plat of tract G2 of Armitage Third Deer Meadows addition to the town of Ennis, lot 3 of minor subdivision 244 and lots 1 and 2 of cost number 7/25117F, located in the northeast quarter of the southeast quarter of section 4, township 6, range 1, west PMM, city of Ennis, Madison County, Montana.
A second.
Call the vote, Christie?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm gonna abstain.
Okay.
And is Corey on there?
And do we have anybody now? The caller, can you unmute them? Try caller 1. Mute caller.
I don't know which one is Corey.
Oh, maybe try caller 1. And just ask him. Corey, is that you? Caller number 1? Okay. and then maybe mute that person and then go down the list. Oh, and they'd have to unmute themselves too.
Right.
Which is, what number is that on the phone?
Just ask Corey to unmute himself.
Corey, can you unmute yourself if you're there?
I must have lost him.
All right, well, we have the 3 votes, motion passes. And that concludes agenda item. The next agenda item is a discussion of business licenses, discussion of short-term rentals and accessory dwelling units. I think the accessory dwelling units would be more of a zoning ordinance question as opposed to a business license question. So we had talked about business licenses a while back and updating our outdated code on that. And so just wanted to see where we're at. And with short-term rentals, the county sent out, I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, and I'm looking at it again. Can we use the county?
Yeah, so basically with short-term rentals, they're supposed to be required by the state to be licensed with the state. And then the county does the administration of that and the inspection. So there is an inspection through that process as well. And then if we, wanted to license them, we could come up with, supplementary things to go on there as well. Or just say as part of our application process, you have to have your state license as well.
Yeah.
So, short-term rentals, they can be kind of a contentious issue. Just wanted to bring it up and start talking about it, because right now they're not licensed at all. And so I did reach out to Madison Valley Management.
Yeah, she's fine with all of it.
They seem to be for it because it brings some organizational. It also would help us determine how many vacation rentals we have in our community. So we could, at least start there. There were some recommendations from Park County because they have a significant amount, like in Gardner. And one of the things to start inventorying them is to, when they're on VRBO, to list their address, but then they would also have to list their town of Ennis permit number right on their first page. So then that way that they're permitted. I think it helps level the playing ground because we have a lot of businesses, the hotels and stuff like that they're in direct competition with. And the hotels are held to a really high standard. And then there's no regulations on the short-term rentals. So bringing them all to the same standard would be a really good, in my mind, a really good thing and really fair and just. So in that capacity. So
do we just start with what the county and the state already have, and basically we don't really need to do anything, just say you have to have this?
Yeah, I think we need to have, we would need to align our whole business license structure, and that's what we talked about a while ago, is restructuring how the business licenses have done, because it hasn't been updated in how many years, Ginger? Probably 30. So it has a lot of outdated language in our code, and we talked about doing it more categorically, like West Yellowstone does it, and
break them apart
into different categories. So
not just by employees.
Yeah. So I guess that would be a question as to whether or not we would want, our town attorney to look at that ordinance. And
James is on. I think we need to look at all of it because we have to raise it and change it for the day people too, like the vendors.
Trying to pull up West Yellowstone's here. So and nothing is being decided on tonight. West Yellowstone has, there's how they do their fee schedule. They have a basic license, and then it gets separated out into hotels, motels. If you have, if you're a bar, restaurant, your supermarket. So we'll have to look at that and see if we want to, use those categories or look at other towns and see how they do it as well, to go from there.
So
One of the things on the business licenses was from the mayor, and he, the rates that they charge, and it was his position not to do anything at this time because the businesses have been hit hard all year long, and he feels this is not the proper time to be talking about it.
Yeah, and I think what we could do is at least get the structure, not necessarily change the fees, but we could get the structure.
Change.
Because our structure
Change the
is.
fees next year.
And then,
The
yeah.
fees are really far behind. I'm talking. It's $25 for the business license.
Well, it was just, one of the mayor's thing that he just felt like the businesses were hit hard all year long. And he just felt that it wasn't the proper time to be raising anything.
And I don't think anything would take effect for this year because I think we're too far back.
Yeah.
So if we can line it out. Yeah, we're too far back.
Because it has to go through public hearings. And
exactly.
It would be next year's.
Exactly. So that is the thought.
But we talked about changing them last year too, and changing the structure and doing everything. So we have to do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And what are your thoughts on short-term rentals?
Well, it's short-term and long-term. A rental is still a rental and needs a business license, and then separate them between short-term and long-term.
Yeah, it does have that. That's how West Yellowstone. They just have long-term rentals of condominiums is what they have pulled up. But so if you think that the way, obviously we're a tourist economy, they do play into a fact of our economy and our success of our downtown businesses. And I know that's one of the things when we go on a vacation is one of the first places we look. So they do have a place in our economy. So, but it would just be nice at least to inventory them and see how many we have and what kind of impact that is having on our housing situation so we can make good.
yeah, I mean, as far as the short-term rentals specifically, I think we should at least require them to have, like, city requires you to have the state license.
Does the county require, are the VRBOs in Madison County?
So, yes, so they're supposed to, but I think they have a hard time. It's through the sanitarian's office, and they do have a list of them. But if the town could help taking an inventory, that would help them out too. And it's safety things like having smoke detectors, making sure. I think there's also occupancy requirements, things like that. So people aren't putting, renting out unsafe situations, that type of thing. It's kind of the idea behind it.
So what can we do here today for this?
I don't think we necessarily need to do anything right now today. I think we would need to.
Should we try to format something or pick up some kind of idea of what we want and then work on it?
Yeah.
We need a resolution and rewrite the structure, but that needs 2 public hearings.
Yep. And
once we find something.
It'll be an ordinance change.
Yeah.
And
if we're gonna
and then we'll be able to change that ordinance by resolution anytime we want to raise.
Well, we would say that the fees would be set by resolution. So you get the structure of each category, and then you have the resolution, have the fees set by resolution. And so then that way.
Are they currently set by resolution?
No.
That's why
we
have to change everything.
Yeah.
That's why we have to find a new structure or do something, because we can't just change.
Because we just keep talking about it and nothing ever happens.
Well, I think we had one work session on it, so I think that's why I asked for it to be on the agenda today to bring it more up. So, I mean, it might take us a year.
It's going to take
a while to get the correct structure and whatever. So it should be on the forefront because housing is a
I can ask
Hot topic.
Red Lodge for theirs too, and maybe we just kind of look at Red Lodge and West Yellowstone.
Yeah.
And kind of pick them apart and come up with something and then see if they agree on it.
And then we should have the town attorney, James Greenbaum, look at the, make
Yeah,
sure we're
of
not
course,
doing
yeah.
anything illegal.
I
or
think we
something.
basically tell him what we would like to see, and then he puts it in the legal
Yeah.
stuff instead of us trying,
And
we're not attorneys. So.
He can help us change the ordinance and do it all right.
Yeah, exactly. And then once we have our first reading, it's a couple of readings and then a public hearing, or something along that line.
Well, 2 public hearings.
Okay,
So, and they are considered the first and the second reading.
okay. And then adoption. Okay.
Yeah, and adoption, if there's no further changes, can happen at the second reading.
Okay.
Changes or objections or.
Okay.
And Jim, did you want to say something?
Oh, I was just that, you probably want to start looking at ordinances that have been adopted by other cities and towns. I know that, Bozeman, they spend quite a bit of time working on a short-term rental agreement ordinance. So, that's what I would suggest is start looking at.
Thank you. And it is something that we need to, the town of Gardner is having a really hard time with it right now. It's quite a few, and unfortunately, the town of Gardner is not a municipality, so they can't regulate them on their own. And so, that'd be a good point to take a look at them at least and see where we're at and how many are going, so. All right. Any further discussion on that? Okay. We're going to move to our second, or close that agenda item, and we are going to come to the lease for ambulance parking at Town Hall. Ginger was able to obtain a lease agreement. Just take a look at this. I believe we required that it would be $500. The amount would be $500, and then they would be required to also carry renter's insurance. So.
And that's a 6 months.
That was a question I had, Jason. I wasn't positive if you.
I don't know if they said 6 months or a year. I think they said year.
I think I put a year in here in dates. I looked at quite a few of these. I went to a legal site and to pull up this lease. But I mean, I just recently, well, you guys just got it tonight. So I didn't know if you wanted to review this whole thing tonight, and make comments back to me. Lisa suggested also that possibly the hospital take a look at it and see if they had anything.
Wouldn't, utilities, don't you want to add water too? Because they're not going to have to pay water. Electric, propane, will be paid for by the landlord. Water too.
I don't think they have any water.
They don't have any.
Oh, but if they wash the ambulance.
Oh, they do have water out there.
Yeah, there's water.
But we would have to meter it, Christie.
No,
Oh,
so
no,
put it on
no.
there that we're paying it though.
Oh, okay. I don't know if it was, I actually was working off of some drop-down lists.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, if it's not on there, then it doesn't exist.
Do we need to decide on the
Well, it
security
does say
deposit?
tenant is responsible for payment of all
All
utilities
utilities
and other
except
services,
these.
with the exception. So on number
Okay.
6, so we would need that with, I mean, we're accepting everything, electric, propane, and water. Or I don't know if we can reword that says, landlord will pay for all utilities. Just because we can't break them out.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure when we talked about it last time, everything was gonna be included.
Yeah.
And electric and propane is the only other two, so.
Yeah, so it just
Might as well
means
just put water in
yeah, so
there.
maybe just number 6 is just landlord pays all utility.
Okay,
And then on number 7, should we just do $500 security deposit or no?
and I don't think you had any discussion on a security deposit.
I don't think that's necessary.
Well, what if they smash the door or something?
Yeah.
Then it doesn't say in here they have to pay for it.
Maintenance and repairs.
Maintenance and repairs.
Yep, it's covered. And it is in there that they do require to have.
Tenant will reimburse landlord for cost of any repairs.
You would think it would say come out of the deposit or, you know, I'm sure the hospital's gonna pay for anything, but,
Yeah.
you know, you always wanna cover your ass.
Well, we can send this over to them too, and then we can have the town attorney, you know.
Otherwise, you need to just take out number 7 if there's not gonna be a security deposit, why have it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree, let's send it over to James.
Well, we have to have it in place, so it sounds like we'll probably have to have another meeting because it has to be in place before May 1st. Because that's when they take over. Or do we just want to have Blake take it over, have James review it, and the hospital's attorney, and then have Blake sign the lease?
Well,
See
you
why
should
we-
turn it over to them and let them look at
Yeah.
this here and see, and then if they have any disagreements, then they can bring them to us, and then we can discuss it at a work session and go from there. I don't see any reason to say, let's do it tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Take it over there first, let them look at it, and then come back with what they think, and then have a meeting to see if we agree with them.
I don't think it needs all. Thank you. I think it might not need all of us to get together. I think if the 2 attorneys look at it, then we can just Ginger, can we just give the mayor the authority to sign the lease? Yes. Okay. So do we want to make a motion that way? Because in that way, we don't have to have a special meeting once the attorneys have reviewed it.
I make a motion that we turn the lease over to the hospital, let them look at it, and then get with our attorneys and go from there.
So approving the lease based on,
So, yeah, the mayor has the authority to approve the lease based on feedback from the hospital district and the town of Ennis attorney.
did you get all that, Ginger?
Give her a minute to get that and then read it back to us.
All right.
Yeah, that's what I say.
I'm probably gonna listen to the audio.
Okay,
To do this, I got the gist of it.
okay,
The hospital's going to do a review, Greenbaum's going to do a review. If both of those are okay, then you're giving Blake the ability to sign.
correct. There
And
a
then
second?
where do these, I'll second that.
Okay. Okay, discussion? Is there any more discussion?
No.
Okay. Call the vote, John?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion passes for the lease of the ambulance parking at town hall.
I do have one quick question about the lease.
Okay.
About the monies that, the revenue generated, does that just go to the same place that the upstairs?
We go into the general fund? Yeah, yes. We go into the general fund. Okay. Okay. That agenda item is closed. Next one is the dissolution of the ambulance manager position. For those who don't know, obviously the hospital district is taking over the ambulance to provide 24/7 coverage. They're going to have EMTs on staff and paramedics on staff that are able to respond and also do some community health as well. I think their goal is also to have ALS service, which is advanced life support. So they are taking that over as of May 1st. And so they have, so our position, employee position of an ambulance manager will no longer be necessary. So do we just need a motion on that, Ginger? Yeah. Okay.
Dissolve. I move to dissolve the ambulance manager position.
Second.
Effective May 1st, 2021.
Second.
Thank you.
Is all that been done? Is it effective May 1st?
Yeah, so that we did that back in, what was that, November?
Yeah.
I want to say that's when we decided that the commission.
But all that's.
Yep, that all that was done. The only thing was the lease agreement. So that was in that resolution back in November.
With the dissolution of the ambulance manager position.
Yes, that we didn't.
We couldn't do it until they take over.
So we have a motion on the table right now?
Yes, you still have a vote. I thought you were in discussion phase.
Yeah. So, and they've already hired an ambulance manager. It's already been working. So it just takes this position out of the town.
On our budget and our
yeah, exactly. Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, I think I'm up. So call the vote. Aye.
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 And now we're on to department reports. The first one up is the library. Karen, can you hear us? And comment?
I don't think Karen's there. She's gone this week, Lisa.
Oh, okay.
Karen's away.
Oh, she is. Okay.
As she's suffering in Hawaii.
Suffering.
Oh. Well, good for her. Every librarian needs a Hawaiian vacation. Okay. Then we have police reports. John submitted his report. Are there any questions or comments? He included the speed study that comes off the sign. Any questions? And his first thing is that he's happy to explain any questions that we did have. So, moving on. Public Works.
Okay. Kelly asked if I would just give you a verbal report before he left. He wanted me to tell you that they have done several water main taps this month. There was 2 mainline sewer plugs. And I'm going to expound on this one a little bit because I know a little bit on it. Their sewer machine was actually being worked on and wasn't available, so he had to call in out of town, like Roto-Rooter. I mean, it wasn't a Roto-Rooter company, but they came in and cleared those 2 lines. There was a backup into a residence that happened. So MMIA I've put in a claim to them, so they are working on that. So now we just wait and see what the insurance has come up with.
Okay. So that was the main line. And what area of town was that? Were they both in the same area on the same
Yes.
line?
Yes. So, you know, they got some cammering done, went to find the plugs and whatnot, but they broke one loose and then it must have,
Formulated somewhere else?
yes,
So did the other one
and
move?
did it again.
Okay.
So that line is good and clear now. I believe it might have been tree roots.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
He completed the gas tax report for the state of Montana.
Okay.
That's where we get our gas tax money from each year, and we gained another 0.41 mile
Okay.
onto that. So that'll bump us up a little bit. Guess every bit it helps.
We have an estimate, yeah. We know how much that is per year? Well, we could do a budget report.
It's $1,982 and some odd cents a month
Okay.
is what we're getting now. He has checked with Rural Water, I believe, and they were waiting on the census data to come in because that has an effect on the rate structure with the new census data.
Are they gonna
So
try
they
to come
should
next
be,
month?
I think they're coming next month. It's early enough before their convention in Great Falls.
Okay.
Like I think it's a couple weeks before, so he believes somebody can come down on that. And the capacity study and the road inventory that Great West is working on. The capacity study is for our water and sewer. With the fast growth that we're seeing, we're having a study done to see how much the water and sewer can handle in growth. And then the street is, they're doing an inventory on our streets and they highlight what needs to be done the soonest or next. We put together a 5-year plan and then we consider that plan and do street improvements from that. So those should both be ready for the May meeting as well. So we should have reports on that. And then at the end of his text to me, I guess I'm supposed to tell you he's planning to retire at the end of this year. That's the end of his report.
Be a hard one to replace. Does anyone have any?
Start advertising it now.
It would be a good idea
To start advertising.
Well,
Something.
yeah.
Well, and are we down any public works employees? How many?
We only have one public works employee. Eric. Yeah. DJ is gone.
Fire quit.
Quit.
Bills?
So we are down to one. They are
Bills quit a long time
advertising,
ago.
they are
He went back to
advertising
the
and have had some applications come in.
Okay,
I don't know where they are with that.
okay. So that would be
So they were
question for Blake
advertising for two.
for Blake and Kelly. So there's 2, and then there's.
But we're advertising Kelly's position. We should start.
I know that Blake and Kelly have visited on it some, but I can't tell you what those conversations were. I don't know.
And we're at the same spot still with letting Alex do zoning. We didn't hire anybody or do anything there. No more applications, no more.
I think maybe that's not for me to answer.
As far as the public works, do we have a plan for if we can't find somebody to fill?
Well, we have, let's see, December, so
We
we've
just
got 8 months.
I think it's like December 28th.
Is that his birthday?
No, his birthday's in October.
Okay, so,
'Cause
well,
before we were hoping that we bring in, you know, the people that were working below him would move up, but that's obviously not gonna happen now.
and in our discussions, was that last summer? I can't remember when we increased the public, maybe it was the summer before, 2019, when we increased the public works. We had talked about like an assistant or a deputy public works director.
We
And so maybe,
initially wanted money to do that, so that there was somebody already put into the position.
yeah.
Tony asked why we can't talk about Art's position.
So, well, we're on Public Works Department.
I'm not in charge of employees.
We can talk about it during the,
Has the zoning administration position been filled?
well, let's move on to zoning.
Well, I don't think it's on the agenda.
It's not on the agenda.
So Public Works. Is there any more discussion on Public Works report? So we're looking for 2 Public Works employees and soon to be a director at the end of the year. So, and did the state complete? We completed the inventory where they did that mapping, correct? So it was that from the Montana State Library grant that we got, and they did all that mapping.
The GIS.
Yeah.
Kelly keeps telling me that it's almost completed, but I have not seen any final stuff on that.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Sorry, you were behind the pole. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. If you can state your name.
My name's Nikki Hankins, and I would like to know if the zoning administration position has been filled.
The mayor is in charge of hiring employees, so he would have the, I'm not sure that it has, but the mayor, it's his duty to hire, and he's in charge of employees.
Okay.
So I can't give you that. I haven't been, he hasn't told us that it's been filled. So, and I don't know what applications it's, he does the hiring for the town of Ennis.
He alone, there's no commission.
Yeah. Okay. And then department heads, like for Public Works, he will consult with Kelly Elser, so, but he does the hiring for the town. There was discussion about partnering with Madison County for some of that zoning administration stuff. I believe was last meeting we talked about having a, what did we call it? Special projects assistant position, and letting the county was willing to assist with some of the bigger projects like that we're seeing, and doing some of the zoning administration on that, but some of the smaller things like whether it be signage or fence permits, those types of things, is to hiring someone, maybe like a part-time position for that. So that was the last, at our last meeting, that's what we kind of discussed. But with him not being here, we do not have an update on that. Okay. Ginger, clerk report.
And you have my written report. Budget's gonna start, well, budget has started. Stuff is starting to filter in.
Okay.
One positive thing that I got on it is no increases across the board for any insurance.
Really?
That's what health insurance.
That's like the first time since I've been on the
So
commission.
no health insurance increases. Workers' comp went down.
Oh, wow.
I haven't got the final yet on property and liability is based off of wages.
Yeah.
So that will come later. So the only thing I'm really waiting for at the moment is our property.
Okay. Okay. Well, that's good. Insurance had been going up by like almost 10%, wasn't it, for a while there?
I think the highest we ever went up was 8. It was usually in the 3 to 4 range.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. All right. Any other questions for Ginger? Do you have any questions, John, for Ginger?
Yes. Did they hire someone to do the position on opening the bathrooms?
Yes.
They did.
Yes, it's taken care of.
And the bathrooms will be open April 15th.
I think it's the 16th, but they might try for a day early.
Yeah, I thought it was the April 15th to, until November 15th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the technicals one day.
It's one
I've
day.
had different people ask me when they're going to open it, and I said the state actually tells us when to do it.
Yeah.
And that was the dates.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm glad you found someone.
Yes.
Please try to find somebody for zoning.
Did you have a question, sir? Did you have your hand up?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, I guess you pointed to me, so I may as well ask, just to confirm, nobody's been appointed to the town planning position, what we were just talking about.
Not that the council is aware of. Like I said, it was the mayor who's in charge of hiring. So, and he has not given us an update. Hey, can we get your name?
Kurt Pardo,
There's a young lady back there.
Okay, yeah.
Yep, and I'm Janet Gates, and I sent a letter to you, Ginger, on April 2nd, and I hand-delivered it. When can I expect a written response?
I've got that in the mayor's hands right now, Janet. I'm just waiting back from him.
Okay.
But soon, I hope.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thank you.
All right. Any from the commission, any other discussion there? Okay, we'll close that agenda item. Next agenda item is mayor reports and comments. Obviously, he is not here, so we will close that agenda item and move to commission comments. Don, do you have any commission comments?
Believe it or not, I really don't. I got answered what I wanted to find out about the bathrooms and the hiring of a person to clean them.
Okay.
So that means a lot.
Do you have next month's agenda stuff written down for him at all? I got the pollination garden, money, or check-in, business licenses and rural water.
I think, yeah.
And the capacity.
Yeah. I think those are all great items.
We should tell him.
Yeah, I think Ginger typically does, but we can, we can confer on an agenda list for next month as well. Jason, any?
Well, I just wanted to say about the zoning administrator. We were, as far as this is what I know, we were going to hire a zoning administrator, but then we decided to possibly partner with the county because they're already doing all that stuff. We have a person, Alex, who is a professional in that zone. So we were going to partner with him and have him help us, but then, have a lower sort of person that worked in the city. So that's kind of up in the air right now, and we don't know what's happening with it. The mayor's kind of dealing with it. And then for everyone that is in here, as far as commenting during the public comment time at the beginning of the meeting, that's when you guys can say or ask any questions. Generally, the mayor will let people talk when it's not public comment, but technically you're not supposed to. So we kind of do it a little bit different here, but.
Well, I think that's for like, if there was something not on the agenda, that someone wants to bring up and stuff like that.
Right.
I just think he's always had the thought that he likes letting
the feedback.
Yeah,
and have the feedback. Absolutely. I guess the only comments that I have is that the Ennis master planning process has started. The steering committee was selected, was that last week? There are 9 members on the steering committee, and I think Cushing Torella has reached out to them and to get them scheduled, and that process started and facilitated through. It's going to be over the next several months, so watch out for ways to participate in that. There'll be several public participation events there. So some will be surveys, some will be workshops, some will be other meetings that'll happen throughout, spread over, 4, 5, 6 months. So watch out for that and participate in that.
Yeah, they're going to be reaching out to the community and the people in the steering committee.
Yeah.
So this is really the community's chance to get involved and actually steer this thing, the master plan where you guys want it to go. So get involved as much as you can.
Yeah.
There's another group in town that's been meeting, and I thought that they were gonna come here and show up and say what's on their minds. But they haven't spoken up, and I don't know why. I mean, you're all here tonight. Is there anything that you want to say about how the commission's working or whatever?
I have a
There's
question.
been a lack of communication between everybody, or, because of the COVID, there's been no, public meetings, so we really couldn't discuss anything. But you're here now.
If we want to get on that topic, it's our understanding that the council spent $140,000 to litigate a private property owner. Is that true?
The stairs alleyway, John, is what they're referring to.
I apologize, Mike.
No worries, John.
The Steer property, Grizzly and Armitage, the 12-foot
Easement,
yeah. We're not
for the
allowed to,
stairs.
we're not allowed to comment on ongoing litigation. That is
Okay.
not,
Well, I don't believe that issue is in our town's best interest anyway, so
Yeah.
I have a problem with the council pursuing that and wasting taxpayers' dollars, so.
well, that would have been a comment for.
He just asked if anybody had any comments, and so that was my comment. Thank you, Lisa.
I'm personally not aware of the amount, but yeah.
It's been ongoing years.
And why is that? If it's gotten nowhere within the first year or two, why are we still pursuing that? We got a private property owner who's got $100,000 out of his own pocket to defend himself.
No, that's
Hello,
not, that's.
excuse me. Excuse me, but you guys are getting into a discussion on something that's not on your agenda. So I advise you to not have that discussion.
Thank you, James.
And as your town attorney, I just make one comment. The town was sued. And so the town had a responsibility to defend that action. The court filings are all available at the city. And I would welcome anybody to go down there meetings and understand the nature of the litigation and the public access rights that are at stake. We're talking about public right of access to the Madison River. I don't think you could put a price tag on that. That's my own opinion on that. But again, we shouldn't even be having this discussion.
Well, you are.
Yep.
And you asked the question if there were any community issues, or John did, so seems like that's an issue.
So it's probably not proper for you to say your opinion either, when we don't know what the full extent of what the other side is saying.
And why is the council not forthright with it? Why don't we see this in the Madisonian? Why is it not public information? Why do we have to go pursue it?
Because it's ongoing litigation, so we're not allowed to do it. If the Madisonian wanted to cover a story, I think there was a story when it first started in the Montana Standard. So
there was one on the Madisonian too in 2018 on it.
Yeah, so I think it's, we can't dictate to what the Madisonian for what them to cover. And so it is an ongoing litigation process. And there was, as far as the timeline goes, and then this is the last thing I'm gonna say, the timeline of working through a lawsuit in which we were defending ourselves, there was almost a year where nothing happened. So, on that, so not to get up, so in staying with, not getting off of our agenda. We will close commission comments and bring up the claims.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion on claims? No? All right, Jason?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes, claims are approved.
This is my favorite part of the night. Move to adjourn.
Second.
The regular meeting moves to adjourn.
Who was the second?
Jason. Okay. Moves to adjourn. So this concludes our regular meeting. We have to move into an executive session for a report on litigation. So.
Call the vote.
Call the vote on adjourning?
Yes.
Oh, sorry, call the vote.
Aye.
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 I think Corey could just call it again like we did when I was in here.
Yeah, so I think that concludes our town regular meeting. Our regular meetings are always the second Thursday of the month at 7 o'clock.
And if we do work sessions, they're posted.
Yep,
on
they're
the town
posted at the library and here at town hall as well.
And on the website. Anyway. And we can attend their work sessions?
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
They're open to.
Yep, absolutely.
Can we show those?
Hey, Lisa, guys, can you guys remind me, is it 24 hours or 48 hours before a meeting has to be posted?
But it's
48.
48.
48. So a lot of times you're missing them at the library. They're not posting. They're not posting your meetings.
The library's not posting
No,
them?
they are not.
Okay.
I will start taking them down personally.
Thank you, Ginger.
You're welcome.
And the charter does say for an emergency, it can be less than that. So.
But
not
yeah, but if our regular meetings aren't making.
Yeah, we should see why that's not happening.
But
Yeah.
for the meantime, I'll just take them down.
You post them on the website too?
Yes.
They're on the calendar. Sorry.
And on Facebook.
On the town's page.
Okay, I am going to close this. Jason, do you need these?
Those need to be saved, yeah.
Do you need